She puts the pinky into the nostril. Man, look at that.
Healthy competition, there's nothing like it.
Y'all grow up. The line's wrapped around the stadium. Different strengths. Mm-hmm. I just lost a tooth.
It's going to be fun.
You know, we might have a story.
I love what you're doing.
Ogeron wants to take us fishing this afternoon.
Sharif, you play for the bad boys of the SEC, man. We don't apologize to anybody.
A lot of people are saying you're going to be wearing number 7.
I don't really know. I want to.
He look crazy, Bill. Good feet on the old man.
This is some back.
We'll be right back with the Jordy Culotta Show. Welcome in to a Thursday edition of the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet. As we are every single day, hit our boys up online at GEAUXChevrolet.com. Go Express Auto Sales located right here in Baton Rouge, and brand new cars out in LaPlace, Louisiana. Good morning. We appreciate you starting your day here with us. Make sure to hit that like button, share button, comment button as we are live here on this Thursday. We got a text into Will Blackwell. We'll see if Willie B can join us here in the first hour. And then we're going to talk to Brody Miller. That was me. We're going to talk to Brody Miller at some point before we get out of here at 9 a.m. this morning. And then Perry White from the new Chopping It Up with Kador show that is going to go live here on Monday out of the FM Digital Media Studios. It's going to be here at the later part of the show. Tell us about what's going on. Our guy, Zach Ewing from Caesars, under the weather, sick. I don't know if he's running from his picks, a little scared of
do we have an official record? We should get a little tally if he isn't doing well. I mean, I've been sick for my picks before.
I'm sick on my NFL picks.
That's what's killing me.
I can't pick an NFL game to save my life.
I even went to the well, this is the oldest, most degenerate move of all time, where I went to, the teaser well. Well, on Monday night, they had 2 games. I was like, all right, I'll take both teams that are getting points and add 7 points to it, and we'll be fine. Because the games have been remotely close in the NFL. Both teams got boat raced, and it's like, okay, never mind. I might be out on NFL gambling for just the foreseeable future.
It's too unpredictable.
Monday night, I had Tennessee and Minnesota.
Me too, and I added points to them, and still took an L. And I mean, I was talking with my buddy last night about this. We forgot about primetime Kirk Cousins. Totally forgot.
Yeah.
God, he's
awful. He's garbage.
He's 1 in 11.
You like that? No, I don't, Kurt. You owe me money.
Yeah, a lot.
Get Justin Jefferson the ball.
Justin Jefferson's fed up to here. I had it up to here. He was doing bad body language.
Did you see the back-to-back plays? He threw one. He almost picked it off. Darius Slay almost picked it off. And then he goes back to him and picks it off. Yeah. It's like, Kurt, what are you doing?
You want the game ball? Here it is.
Take it in.
Yeah.
Take it. You like that?
Yeah. I hate it here.
So we will talk to Willie B, and we will talk to Brody Miller here on this Thursday edition of the Jordy Culotta Show. We'll hold off and give you our picks tomorrow as we have been going on. Yeah, right. give me the sunglasses and a walking stick. I'll give you my picks tomorrow.
I'm fading myself.
Throwing darts.
I'm taking Bama.
I see the board clearly now.
Give me the Tide.
They're on a bye week. I'm taking them anyway.
Give me Georgia points.
Yeah.
Georgia 2.
Fuck it, give me that head.
I mean, but really, should we just start riding Georgia and Buffalo?
I mean, yeah.
Two-team teaser.
It kind of feels like LSU 2019 with Georgia. You can't put enough points on them.
No, at all.
I mean, like, I'm really thinking about just playing Georgia every weekend. Give me 2 plays a weekend. I'll play Georgia Buffalo every weekend, and let's see how much money we can make.
You just put 2 together money line parlay
every weekend.
Plus 125 probably. Yeah.
I mean, they look so far and above as the best teams in both leagues. I know Kansas City.
Did we just figure out gambling?
I think so.
Think
I remember me and my roommate had this grand idea to become bookies in 2003.
That's a great idea, actually.
I mean, it is.
If you have the cash.
Because the guy that was like a generation older, like 2 years older than us.
Yeah,
that we looked up to was rolling.
Jimmy Ott.
You know what I mean? No, Ott was a couple of generations ahead. But I mean, we were like, I think we could do this.
Yeah,
we can do this. I mean,
and then somebody hits a 7-leg parlay, and you're like, "Fuck."
And then LSU in 2003, they covered. They could not. They covered every spread. They covered every single spread. And like it got to a point where people were betting with their hearts. We were taking
2019.
We're taking college, but we're taking bets from college kids.
Yeah, who do you think I'm gonna bet at Saturday?
Give me the Tigers with all my dad's money. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like Jesus, we're like
1,500 on the Tigers and money line. It's like I can't.
We're like calling Ott and like fading the other side. Like Ott, we need Arizona State for $10,000, man.
Yeah. Hey, what do you have on Hawaii? Because I need a get back game.
Yeah, right. Just like, oh my God.
Dude. We had a guy in the fraternity in 2011 that started. He tried to run a bookie inside the fraternity. After the Oregon game, he goes, nobody can bet on LSU or the Saints. Everyone's like, well, we're not going to bet with you. He got absolutely ripped to shreds.
No
week 1.
Week 3, we were like at the house, we were like, should we stop doing this?
Yeah, can we just run away?
Like the first 2 calls, we were like, I think we're shutting down the shop. They're like, say what? I was like, I don't think we can do this yet. I think we're too open for business,
I might be over my skis.
Yeah, I think we might have to call a backer.
I need to start selling drugs.
What else can we do?
Gotta make money for my money.
I got a plug, I guess we can figure something out.
College.
The booking business ain't gonna work out, boys.
Bad year for it.
Yeah, right.
Should have done it in 2001.
I'm doing it. I'm going Buffalo, Georgia every weekend. Screw it. Who does Georgia have this weekend? Kent
State. Yeah. You won't be able to get a money line on it.
A line on it, will we?
No, it's minus 44.5.
I'm taking it. Give me the dogs. Who's Buffalo got? They played Sunday night or Monday night?
They played on Monday, so they're not playing this week. They'd have to go all the way next Sunday.
That's not true.
They played on Monday.
Sure, that's the last game of last week.
But they usually give you don't they usually give you the bye with the new? I'm wrong.
No, you're just totally wrong.
They don't play
that's
like that.
That's a terrible take, Lloyd. I mean,
I forgot.
They play the Dolphins Sunday.
Oh, I actually knew that.
That's going to be a great game.
And that spread's what, 4.5? I actually knew that. I don't know where my brain was. I was still in the gambling. I was trying to get a pass, dude. I was back in my bookie days.
That's sports 101.
You actually can't bet on the Bills. They're not playing. They played on Monday. You can't take them again.
Yeah, right. So, in that theory, you're saying that everybody that plays a Monday night game has a following week
they
bye.
They should get a bye, yeah.
I think, if they send you to London.
Yeah, that's what it is. Or if you play on Thursday, I think you get the Monday game. They try to
speed.
Right oh God,
I don't think that's right either.
I worked 80 hours yesterday in one day. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. Yikes!
The brain is all over the place. I did.
Give me some feedback on Caskey's Clicker yesterday. The extended version. I thought it was great.
I love it.
I thought it was fantastic, man. I mean, really and truly, there is a lot of you out there that are looking for whether it's a deeper analysis of the game, or it's really kind of just learning the game. I mean, if you're just sitting there, Katie just sat on the side yesterday and was just kind of taking notes. I mean, it was like she was in a classroom watching football 101.
And she kept it mic'd up. She's great.
Yeah.
She didn't want a microphone, but then she started talking and it's like, Katie, if you're going to be here,
you got to get on the mic.
Let's do the whole thing. Now you're on the camera. Now your feet are out.
I've done this before.
Yeah. Feet are to the secret.
But give me some feedback. Give me some feedback on that. Give me some feedback on Caskey's Clicker about what did you like it? Because we're doing it every week. In fact, we're going to start a YouTube page called Caskey's Clicker that we're going to open up under FM Digital Media. We'll store a lot of highlights like yesterday on there and start to build the medium up. But we're going to build that up and make it its own kind of deal. Let it live on its own. I mean, he doesn't even really need us to be in here. I mean, he could run it almost like a classroom.
All right.
Right? I mean, like, he could just sit up here and break down plays, and he's got NFL and college access. So, I mean, we've got pretty much all of the games to break down. I thought it was awesome. I mean, for somebody that is always kind of looking to learn more about football, I thought it was pretty refreshing for a guy with Caskey's resume and Caskey's experience, 12 years in the league. I mean, he spent 12 years as an assistant coach in the NFL and still trying to get back in, which I think he will. Once you're in that fraternity, it's tough to be completely thrown out. You got to do some real crazy stuff. But, but even a guy of his experience, like, to admit, like, I didn't know what an over and under front was for a long time. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't know. I don't know what
they're under, and I don't know what they're over.
Yeah, he's like,
but I know what it is.
You're saying like the over under fronts?
Yeah, on like the defensive side, he's like, I've always heard it, so I know what it is, but I never knew
I know what it looks like. Like when people are like,
I know when I see it.
Like when the defensive guy's like, okay, you're looking. We got an over front here, and he's like, okay, I guess that doesn't. But he's like, I don't know what they're talking about over or under, and he was like, he's got something to do with the tight end, But it's really cool. So if you're kind of looking to learn more about the game, and it's breaking down your teams. It's talking about the Saints. It's talking about LSU, and it's talking about little Cincinnati, which I thought was a cool breakdown to see, kind of just from that angle.
He's just making you smarter.
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing better than when you're in the stands, you're like, they're about to do this.
Yeah. Should it be a
Call
class
your shot.
in college? Shouldn't this be a class in college?
This is the school that I would go to.
Like LSU, like if they were trying to add a class, just like for people to pass and for people to learn, because a lot of the students just go to the games and they're like, oh, we should be doing this.
He's wide open.
Like,
right.
All right, let's break it down.
Talk about it, buddy.
Yeah, talk to him. Put him in a therapy session almost.
Professor Stewie?
Yeah.
Speaking of class, I was on LSU's campus yesterday speaking to a couple of sports administration classes with the professor, Dr. Ashley Bowers. Shout out to Dr. Bowers for inviting us over yesterday. TJ was in one of the classes that I was in. TJ Polk, who works over here with us at FM Digital Media, was one of the classes. But it's always cool to go back to campus, go back into the classroom, and kind of be able to reach out and touch some of the up-and-coming workforce, because really, as I was explaining to both classes yesterday, or actually 3 classes yesterday, that look, you guys, you young people are kind of looking at me kind of like as the expert in the field of, kind of trying for mentorship or looking for direction, but really I'm here to lean on your expertise, with the social media management, the agency stuff that we're now doing over here at FM Digital Media. We were on a and I don't mean to get off here, because we're going to talk about Jack Besh and him getting back into the offense real quick. But we got some cool stuff going on over here at FM Digital Media with, we're getting into the agency side of stuff where we're managing people's social media. We're helping people with their search engine optimization. We are, kind of going in and helping them consulting on website and website optimization and building an e-commerce website, some digital media marketing agency type stuff. And, we were on a photo shoot at a local boutique, NK Boutique, which is locally owned over here on, I believe, Hollydale, right next to Ivar's under the overpass. And we were doing an 8-hour photo shoot the other day. There's people there, and the majority of the people that we are contracting to do a lot of this work are like under 25 years old, 24 years old. I mean, it's a young person's world. So to get and talk to, the young people over at LSU and kind of give them an idea of what we're doing and introduce ourselves to them. And it was cool to see. And, it kind of got into the discussion of how curriculum is changing. That's how I kind of got into this, because of what's being offered now on college campuses. And a lot of it's around digital media marketing, social media, management and marketing, which is cool. And, it got us into the discussion of, they should have college campuses of, football and learning football for everyone, not just the male student population that wants everybody. I mean, Caskey was talking about some of the stuff that he's doing with a Fox sideline reporter who was trying to encourage more sideline reporters of like knowing the game. Like he's going like deep into like football discussion with some of these female type clinics that they're doing of like talking like blitz packages and pass protection pickup and like putting people in motion and silent counts and how do you get into that stuff. I mean, like some of the stuff he was showing me and telling me that he was going over with some of this stuff that he's doing and teaching the game absolutely translate on to a college campus. So it was cool to be there yesterday. Thank you for Dr. Ashley Bowers for allowing us out, and really looking forward to doing that type of stuff again and getting out and reaching the young population. Dylan Cruz in one of the classes, sitting there paying attention on time.
Pencil out.
Baseball players go to class.
Pencil out,
coach.
yeah. But I mean,
want to be around.
If there was one baseball player that doesn't have to,
Dylan Cruz.
You know what I mean? Like,
bro, I didn't go to class.
I know.
I couldn't imagine
that
being
makes a lot of sense.
Dylan. But I couldn't imagine being Dylan Cruz, where I could definitely sit at home and be like, I'm good.
I'm still gonna get a good grade. In this class.
I could show up like one day a year. I was just like,
but they go to class.
We go figure it out later.
Like,
I'm gonna drop this class.
Brian Kelly was speaking yesterday. And one of the things that jumped out on Kelly speaking to the media yesterday was that Jack Besh's name came up. And it's good to hear Kelly really, whether it's his fault or not, he is the one that publicly takes the bullet and says he's got to be better, blames himself, says that it starts with him. In fact, he says yesterday, and this is Brian Kelly's exact quote on the SEC teleconference, he said, I think, quite frankly, as coaches, and it starts with me, we've got to get him more involved. And you're going to begin to see that take place this weekend, Kelly said yesterday. He went on to say, Jack's been doing everything he's been asked of. There shouldn't be any narrative out there that he hasn't or that he's injured. So, I think that getting Besh into the fold, first, let's be honest about Jack Besh and what he's been going through. He had a big setback in fall camp. And without that setback, I don't know if this discussion's happening. And whether that's fair, whether it's right, whether it's wrong, we can all debate that. But one thing that we can't debate is that LSU's wide receiver production, outside of the, kind of where's Kayshawn narrative, and he's kind of been, weaved in and out of the first 3-week game plans, and maybe not enough for himself or some of the coaches or for some of the fan base. Outside of that, right? I mean, Malik Neighbors has made huge plays. You can't take Jeray Jenkins off of the field. Mason Taylor is obviously settling in as the wide receiver. If I had any complaint about the wide receivers at this point, it would be the rotation of just getting guys like Jack Besh and Brian Thomas more involved, right? Thomas takes advantage of every opportunity that he gets, and you can see his confidence is just brimming, man. I mean, like, he wants the ball. You can see him out there almost just begging for opportunities, and when he gets it, he makes the most of it. We were in the stadium last week. Kelly and I were sitting in a great perspective when Jack Besh got into the game. I know he didn't get in a lot.
3 plays.
But he got in for 2 plays in the first half. And the first play that he was in there, he ran a beautiful out route to the sideline, to LSU sideline. And Jaden Daniels looked right at him. And for whatever reason, just didn't pull the trigger. He didn't throw it to him. It was one of those plays that we've talked about with Jaden Daniels where he settles in on that 4th, 5th step of his drop back, and he's got his mind made up. I'd venture to say he's probably got his mind made up when he's breaking the huddle, like when he's walking to the line of scrimmage of, I know what I'm going to do. I'm running, or I'm throwing it to Kayshawn, or I'm throwing it to Malik. Some of that stuff happens with quarterbacks when they're uncomfortable in passing situations where they predetermine what they're going to do. And Jaden Daniels looks at times like he's predetermining what's going on out there. And I thought that Besh shook this guy up. What Besh does, he's a great route runner. He catches everything. And then, the yards after the catch where you got to put the ball in his hand. That's the thing about Besh is that don't just throw him out there. Like, don't give him reps to put him out there and get him on the field and soothe everybody by saying, look, he's playing. Like, give him the ball. Put the ball in his hand. I mean, it is undervalued or under talked about. We didn't talk about it enough last year of just how big of a playmaker he is, right? Like, when the ball was in his hand, good things happened. I believe it was his first 11 catches of his freshman season went for first downs. Big deal? No, but just a stat that tells you put the ball in his hands and good things happen. Right? For an offense that's kind of struggling to find an identity, I'd venture to say that Jack Bech is that's one of the best friends that a quarterback can have. He's going to catch everything. He's going to run great routes. And, I mean, he's going to give you that yards, on the stat line that look real good. So,
and this was kind of my thinking and we talked about it a little bit yesterday, but there's an avenue for Jack Bech to get on the field. It's just not the position it feels like that they want to utilize him in. Mason Taylor's a freshman playing tight end, and I was going back and forth a little bit with Stephen Miller. If you want to put Bech out there, he can play that H-back tight end role. And Klasky was saying he's not like the best blocker, but he can block. Like he's actually a wide receiver. He is a wide receiver, but you saw what they did with him as a freshman at LSU, wherever he was kind of you have to put him on the field. And so whether he was utilized as like an H-back or at tight end or a wide receiver, Bech was out there because you needed him. Now, Mason Taylor, it feels like there's a lot on his plate. Bech could kind of swap in and out. You don't want to determine what you're doing based off personnel, but it feels like if Bech could throw a couple blocks, then you start utilizing him in that tight end role a little bit, get Mason Taylor more integrated and more comfortable because he has to do a lot right now because that offense is based almost solely around the tight end. Like a lot of what they do, whether it be motion or whatever and blocking, like that's what the tight end's doing. Bech can do that, and it might be just an avenue to see him more because he's too good of a player to not have him on the field.
Yeah, no, I agree. That's the thing about him is that, look, I know that their wide receiver room is dripping with talent, but there are guys that have to get roles and reps, and Bech is one of them.
Yep.
He's got to be in the game plan every week because he just makes you so much better. And the thing about him is he's infectious, man. Mm-hmm. He makes one play and you can see the huddle. You can see people around him. People start to swell up. People start to, say, okay, look at Jack. He's got this infectious type of energy to him where once he makes a play, it kind of opens up the game for other people. And I think, that's a testament to, really good players, really, good guys, really well-respected players. I think, one thing that stood out to at least me when all these guys were walking through this studio in the offseason was that it didn't matter what position group you were in. It didn't matter what side of the ball you played on. It didn't matter where you were from. You liked Jack Bech. You know what I mean? Like, we had a watch party for the national championship over here, and Jaquelin Roy, Major Burns, Jack Bech, am I leaving anybody out, came over here and watched the game.
I think Malik.
Maybe Malik Neighbors, and they were all, they all loved one another, but you could tell, like, the kind of the glue in the room was Bech. And then about 2 weeks later, him, Will Campbell, and Walker Howard come through here, and that's when, he had the pit bull just kind of running around the studio, and everybody else is watching. And Campbell and Howard are like, they're talking about him almost like, like he's just like the brother, like kind of like the goofy brother, like they love the guy, but they want to kick his ass, but they'll watch his
dog.
Yeah, right. Like they'll watch his dog just because they feel sorry for the dog, because he's got to deal with Bech. They just kind of sit and laugh at Bech, But Bech, he loves that role, he embraces it, and when he's around everybody. When everybody's in the room, everybody's kind of watching him, which I think that says a lot about these alpha elite athletes. That's always kind of fascinated me about LSU's locker room is who kind of runs that locker room. There's stories of, Patrick Peterson would tell me that Tyrann Mathieu started to take over the locker room like midway through his freshman season at LSU. Like, it wasn't his sophomore year where everybody that started to happen his freshman year. And leadership knows no age. Leadership knows no classification. Sometimes that just kind of happens naturally because there's leaders and captains in every year. But sometimes you'll find one that's, show up and this kid's 18 years old and everybody in the locker room's watching him and following him. And Besh has that quality to him. And I'm not saying that that's why you got to play him, but he's also a dog of a football player. And that's why you got to play him, is because when the ball touches his hand, good things happen. And I think LSU's offense has been looking for a lot of good things to happen. In some of these scenarios where you look like you got two left feet and you look very awkward of just trying to find something easy to do, Besh to me would be that option of just kind of a simple, play action, roll out, cut the field in half, and run him on some type of underneath out route and just flip it to him. You know what I mean? Just put the ball in his hand and let him run away from somebody, run over somebody, make somebody miss, get a first down, get up, get the crowd hype, have everybody jumping on him, slapping him in the head, everybody high-fiving him, and then watch the next 3 plays. Watch John Emery make a play. Watch Kayshawn make a play. Watch Mason Taylor make a play. That's the type of stuff to me that happens when Besh is on the field. And not every player has that quality. Not every player has the quality where he makes everybody around him better. The obvious example is Burrow, but Burrow's an obvious example because he touches the ball every play, right? He's a quarterback. But there's more to it with Burrow of just his personality, his confidence that people see, and it just rubs off on people. And Besh has that quality to him where you see him succeeding, you see him getting hype, you see him making plays, and it kind of makes you want to, buckle up a little tighter. Tighten the chin strap and say, all right, man, give me the ball. I want to play. Put me in the game. And I think that's, that's what they've also kind of been missing with Besh not being there. It's kind of that energy, right?
Well, juice.
Yeah. I mean, think about it. At UCLA last year when he makes the one catch, that was that's one of the one moments outside of Kayshawn just ripping through the Rose Bowl that stands out. Of him just, Jack Besh, man, look at this kid. Look how contagious his energy is. It's almost like you can see his eyes no matter where you are in the stadium. That's how dialed in he is. And I don't want to make this a Besh love fest. I just think you got to get him in the game. And I think everybody agrees with that. And Brian Kelly obviously agrees with that. And I think you'll see that happen here pretty soon.
Well, it's almost essentially the same thing that happened with Booty and Southern, where it was look, we missed the mark in game 1. Let's get Booty going. Where Southern, he gets the first 5 targets or something like that. Wherever you get him involved early and you say, look, you're an essential part of the offense. This could be that same get right game for Jack Besh against the Lobos, where you're not. I know they're not going to look past the game, but it's an opportunity to use some of the things that you've seen and correct some things where you get right and get going early. Jaden Daniels, they made a point for him to stay in the pocket and throw it against Southern just so you can get comfortable doing it. You'll probably see a lot of that where LSU's the better team. You get to work on some things in a game setting, and getting Jack Besh involved is probably top 1 on the priority list.
And I would say number 2 is Sevyn Banks, it sounds like. Yesterday,
Which
Kelly was talking more about players, and I think that was kind of the nature of the discussion was that Sevyn Banks was dressed out last weekend and available at Mississippi State. There was a lot of timeouts on the field where you would see number 1 kind of standing around the huddle, and I was thinking that would be a great time to put this cat in, and he never did crack the lineup. But Kelly said we feel that he's right there and believe that this weekend that he'll finally see some playing time. Kelly told that to reporters. He also said on Monday before the Mississippi State game that Banks wanted to play an LSU season opener against Florida State, but the Tigers medical staff kept him out to make sure he was at 100%. So we'll see. I think that Banks is one of those guys, another one of those guys that could be inserted to the lineup. We talked about this last week with Harold Perkins and Micah Baskerville, which we saw come to light, and LSU's defense looked fantastic last weekend, especially on third downs where they held Mississippi State to only 3 third-down conversions and really got off the field all day. And a lot of that was due to, having those athletes like Perkins and Baskerville on the field. In fact, Caskey's clicker yesterday went into some depth of what it meant having those guys in the lineup and how LSU was able to, use that advantage Tigers defense. Seven Banks is another one of those guys that I think once he's inserted into the lineup, he might be tough to take off the field. I think that he's a big time playmaker that is highly, highly motivated right now. We had a chance to meet him and talk to him, and cool. Kept up with him a little bit, going back and forth. I mean, he's a guy that he's ready for his opportunity, right? I mean, at one point, Seven Banks was a projected first-round pick at Ohio State. He had a really good freshman season. Now, look, I know that since then, it's been tough for him to get on the field and then stay on the field. But with the same type of aspirations and goals that we've talked about with a guy like Kayshawn, when people were saying, Kayshawn's going to leave the pro. Kayshawn can't leave the program. He can't go anywhere. He's got to give LSU football everything he has, because everything he has is determining on what's going to be next for Kayshawn. And Kayshawn is thinking that next for him is a top 10, top 15 pick in the league that guarantees him a minimum of, $15 million, $20 million. That's where Kayshawn's headspace is right now. Seven Banks is in a very similar type of mentality where he's heard draft feedback before, like face-to-face, where people have told him, hey, man, you're on track to be a first-round pick. And then injury setback and people telling him, you probably should go back to school. So he's seen both sides of the spectrum, but he's got first-round talent and capability. We said this before. You go into that defensive back room right now and put them all together, safeties, cornerbacks, all together, and you didn't know anything about them. All you could do was draft on purely what they look like in that room. I'm telling you, Seven Banks would probably be the number one pick. Just because he looks the part. He looks like DBU. He looks like Stingley. He looks like Greedy. He looks like Corey Webster. He looks like, name them. He looks like those guys. Of just physically, you're like, damn, one looks like a player. And then you turn on the film when he was a freshman and he was right and healthy, and one's a player. So he's a guy that could step into the lineup, and you could look up 3-4 games down the line and you're like, damn, Seven Banks, thank God he came back and is healthy, right? Because the feeling of the defense completely changes. You might have, I'm not willing to say he can, lock down, shut down the side of the field, but he's a big-time corner that can take away a number one wide receiver. I mean, that would not at all be outlandish for me to, think, believe, say out loud that Seven Banks can take somebody's one option completely out of the game if he's right. And that's a big addition. So I'm with Brian Kelly. Wait and make sure he's completely right to throw out there, because once you throw him out there, you may not be able to put him back on the shelf. He may be just too good to say, hey, man, you got yourself a starting corner. Whose spot would he take? He'd probably take Colby Richardson's spot at this point.
Because it seems like Colby's a little bit banged up.
Yeah, I agree.
And if you're able, the only thing that I would say to that is if he was healthy, you would have seen Seven Banks against Mississippi State. Either that, just because of the scheme that they run, you would think that that's an opportunity to get him out there. So I don't know if it was either that he, A, wasn't totally healthy, or B, the defense was playing so well. Let's not put somebody in the scheme that maybe not know exactly what we're doing because he hasn't been out there before. So if we can wait a week and get him to exactly 100% and then have him play against New Mexico State, get your feet underneath you again, and then, all right, now we're rolling. Now you're back in the flow of stuff. That could be the thing that I'd want to see is Jack Bash and Seven Banks. You're right, but I just don't know if he was fully ready to go. He was available for Mississippi State, but then the defense started to I mean, they held him to what, under 300 yards total?
Yeah, I mean,
so you don't want to insert somebody that hadn't really been in it yet.
Yeah, and I think he was available for, emergency situations.
It started to get dicey.
Somebody got hurt.
Yeah,
you needed to get to a somebody down the depth chart where you just need to have somebody out there, and he probably could have gone. But if you have the luxury to hold him back one more week and get him in, get more rehab and make sure he's fully right. It's a hip, right?
Mm-hmm. The hip, it's a knee, it's just lower body. It's a hockey injury.
Combination of some stuff, but I think that once you get him out there, it's going to be tough to take him off the field. And look, Besh could have the same type of impact. I don't know who you replace. That's such a tough, good problem to have if you're a football coach. And you walk into the wide receiver room and you probably look at Brian Thomas and Jack Besh and think, we got to play these guys. I mean, like every time the ball touches Thomas's hand, he makes a play. Besh has shown that, since he was in 8th grade, he's usually the best player on the field. And, who are you going to say? Jeray Jenkins is probably playing the best in the room right now. Malik Neighbors makes all the big catches. Kayshawn's maybe a top 10 pick.
Brad Thomas is balling every time he touches it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
There's only one ball, and then you have Jaden Daniels. Obviously, he's taking a lot of the offense on himself. Also, some of those targets, he takes off and runs, which is LSU fans hate it until they don't. And when you can hear Tiger Stadium go, because that's what he's comfortable with right now. LSU is an ever evolving project at this point. They're still building the plane in the air, as we like to say, because it's so many, it's an influx of so much new talent that you're trying to figure it out during the year, and they're able to win based off the talent alone. But if LSU's able to get some continuity in the room, that game plan and talent align where everybody's on the same page, it could be scary. Yeah. You could sneak up on somebody and LSU could win a couple games. I think if you look at the schedule, it's going to be the Tennessee game. If they can get right by then and they start to kind of get it's not a figured out in the second half. It's, LSU's coming out and they have a game plan and they're executing. That's what you're hoping to see by the Tennessee game, and that's going to be a huge mile marker for this football team, in my mind.
No, I agree. And look, I think that LSU is a scary
You don't want to play them.
Opponent. Yeah, you don't want to play them because when you look at them, you see all this talent, right? You see the talent that they have, and you see that if they get it right, anything can happen. So I think that they're still, like you're saying, they're still trying to find the right combination. They're tinkering. I love how Brian Kelly has no problem putting the best players on the field. Think about it. Last week at this time, we were all asking, it's time to throw Harold Perkins out there, right? It's time to put Micah Baskerville out there. Your team looks so much faster, bigger, stronger, athletic when they're out there. Opening play of the first defensive, series, you look out there, 40 and 23. You're like, okay, man. Not to say that, they're listening to anybody. It's just when it's that obvious, Kendall Beckwith. Play the guy. What are we doing? You know what I mean? There's been so many times around here where you're like, am I crazy? Are we nuts? Shouldn't
he be out there? Yeah, you just see him on the sidelines. He seems like he could help you a little bit.
It's always just kind of been maddening of looking down there and seeing people where you're like, well, why is Harold Perkins not playing? And to finally see hey man, 40 can play, put him out there. Don't take him off the field. I think that's good to see. Mason Smith yesterday put out a picture. He's going or went into surgery yesterday. He also quote tweeted the picture of the 2023 schedule that was published with a quote tweet saying revenge season. So hopefully Zero can get it back right. As Emory Jones said through here. Was it Emory that came through here and said they're doing it for Mason? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Talking about the how much Mason Smith means to that side of the ball, obviously, or to the entire program because of the knee injury that he sustained against Florida State was going through surgery yesterday to begin that rehabilitation process. And speaking of rehab, Bo Lowry, the great team doctor over at LSU, was caught in some pictures yesterday on the practice field with Drew Brees. Drew Brees was in town working with some of the quarterbacks.
He saw Jameis throw 4 picks, and he's like, let me get back in there.
Jaden Daniels and Garrett Nussmeier and the crew had a chance to meet Brees yesterday on the LSU practice field. And Bo Lowry, who was the longtime medical staff personnel with the New Orleans Saints, is now with LSU. So those two were catching up, but it was good to see Brees working with some of the quarterbacks out there as he was in town yesterday. So that's a lot of the storylines from LSU. As yesterday, Kelly, in the middle of the week, we told you this week's SEC slate is very unattractive. Not too many good games out there outside of Arkansas and Texas A&M over in Dallas. And the headliner of the weekend is probably going to be Florida, Tennessee, depending on what side of the SEC that you're on, East-West, who wants to watch the bigger matchup. But 2 big ones on each side. Outside of that, really nothing.
Baylor, Iowa State.
Nothing to really see.
Maryland, Michigan. 11 a.m. You got to wake up early for these boys. Clemson, Wake Forest. Like we're in the thick of not SEC play right now.
But I mean, shouldn't at this point of the schedule, shouldn't you be playing people now?
Florida, Tennessee.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like,
that's
a
game.
Couple of them out there.
Yeah,
but I mean, like you're week 4 into the college football season. Like this is the stuff that I really do hope that these.
Oh, we got games out there, dude. Wisconsin, Ohio State, Arkansas, Texas A&M. But I'm
talking. I mean, dude, I want to see SEC.
You want the NFL?
Yeah, I do, and I think that's what the new leagues and new television contracts are going to bring, and I'm all for it. Right? I mean, we're paying them now. I mean, it's all good. They're making money. They're going to be financially compensated for the games. The administrators and the schools and the leagues are still making their money off the television contracts. Let's kick this thing off every weekend. I mean, like Georgia, Kent State. Georgia, go play Ohio State. Seriously.
What are we going to do for the playoff?
Play them again.
Okay, I guess that's what they do in the NFL.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I want the best teams playing the best teams every week. And I think that's what the TV executives want. That's what they're in there saying, like, hey, I'm about to cut you a check for $1 billion, man.
I don't want to see Kent State.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to see LSU, New Mexico. I'm sorry. And as bad as this is going to hurt to hear for the state, they don't want to see LSU Grambling. They don't want to see LSU Louisiana Tech. They don't want to see LSU Southeastern. They don't want to see LSU Southern.
They want to see
LSU play Texas.
They do want to see LSU UL.
Who?
LSU UL.
Yeah. Maybe 2 years ago.
Oh, yeah, I guess it is going down. But I get to your larger point, like, when you watch the NFL and you go through the matchups every week, every game feels like there's at least 3 or 4 that you can pick. That's why the red zone exists. Where you're like, I want to see everybody play.
Absolutely.
And if it's kind of hard to bend my mind around thinking of college football like that. Like we're so ingrained in like how we think and the patterns of college football to where like, of course there's a couple cupcakes on there. Like it's college football. This is how the schedule is. If it gets to that point where you go to the super conferences and then it's LSU plays Oklahoma, Texas, Alabama, Georgia, Florida, Tennessee, and you're just like, this is a gauntlet every year, but I'm here for it. Like every game is must watch.
One thing that COVID exposed and one thing that COVID brought to light for college football that I think is something that probably the suits upstairs, depending on what side of the line you were on, either felt greater about it or were like, ugh, is that they played 10-game schedules. I mean, in 2020, they played a 10-game league schedule. So anytime they try to tell you that we can't play 9-game schedule, well, you did. I mean, like, you did it. And it wasn't – the world didn't fall apart. I mean, like, college football stayed alive and still existed. In fact, it created more interest and intrigue around the product, I would venture to say. I would say that league, that year, even though you couldn't watch the games in the stadiums, there were more on paper intriguing matchups that got you thinking like, wow, I want to watch Tennessee play Arkansas. I'd like to watch Ole Miss play Georgia. You know what I mean? Like, I could probably feel what would happen in the game, but I would still like to see that rather than Ole Miss play Georgia Tech. You know what I mean? Like, you'll still have blowouts. You'll still have blowouts in league games. But you'll present a better product in week 4. I'm fine in week 0 if you want to play New Mexico, Southern, Grand. It's fine. I get it. It's still August. I can watch that game from the beach. You know what I mean? Like, it feels like a scrimmage. It feels like a spring game. But if you're going to put me in the Dome in week 1 versus Florida State in a big game, I'm all for that. But if you're going to follow it up with New Mexico and Southern, that kind of checks me out of the product. You know what I mean? Think about it. Like, week 0, I'm all in on LSU, Southern, LSU, New Mexico. I don't care where they play, when they play. I'm watching.
I just want my football back.
Week 4, I'm like,
damn, we're just coming off the high of Mississippi State and Tiger Stadium.
I want to keep it rolling.
I go down to New Orleans and like bounce around the quarter and watch the games on somewhere. I mean, it just doesn't pull me. Like, I hope the college football season, sends me like a magnet in 2 years where I can't miss a Saturday because UCLA's playing Georgia. Florida is playing
USC.
Oklahoma. Whoever. Yeah, USC is playing Ole Miss. I mean, whatever it may be. But just give me the name brands. Give me the programs. Give me the colors. Give me all the pageantry that we love around college football. Just give it to me every Saturday now that you're paying the players and they're, cutting checks for $1 billion, $7 billion. The Big Ten just made on a 5-year television contract. $7 billion.
But on the other side of the coin,
the SEC, bro, they got to be thinking.
Right, but
20.
Yeah.
Wow.
But to your point, but then you miss
$7 billion for Wisconsin.
Yeah, right.
Michigan State.
Yeah, 9-6.
Maryland.
Yeah.
Kill me now.
But to the
now
same.
You see why USC and UCLA were saying, we got to get in.
We're in. Yeah,
we got to
absolutely.
get in.
Like, we got to flee.
Yeah, they're paying them $100 million a year.
To your same token, doesn't that lose some of what college football is? You don't get the Appalachian States.
Lloyd,
you don't get the Marshalls. Like, those upsets where you're like, A&M, like, you got to fire Jimbo. They just lost to Marshall.
Well, I mean, I still think that you'll get the App State games. I think that.
Well, who are they going to play if you do a 10-game schedule like that?
You'll be playing them in week 0. That's the thing about them. You'll have to play them like Jimbo did in week 1 or 2. You know what I mean? Get beat because you're not ready. Yep. It's gonna expose the you're gonna have
still
to
get
win.
caught.
You're gonna have to win these games. What do you think Cincinnati, the Bengals, will feel right now? They've lost 2 weeks in a row by 3 points. They're thinking, damn, we're a good team, but we're
Marshall
0-2.
Notre Dame, my bad. Yeah, but like Marshall Notre Dame, Texas A&M, App State. I don't want to make clear myself up there because App State obviously beats A&M, but like you don't get Marshall Notre Dame. Like those things, that's what makes college football great. Wherever it sneaks up on you, and you're like, oh my God, it can happen at any moment, any time, any place. Doesn't matter. But if it all happens on week 0, I guess that could be an avenue for it, where it's like this is utter chaos. Where every there's going to be 2 or 3 or 4 upsets week 0. But then when you look at what college football is, it won't matter in the grand scheme of things because the cream rises, and then if they're going to expand the playoff, none of those games will matter. But I guess you still get the excitement of, oh, App State just beat A&M, but they lost 2 games and it's an 8-game playoff and they still get in.
Right. Yeah.
It's just there's 2 sides to the coin of losing what college football in terms of how I think of it mentally of the pageantry of it all, and it's you want to see some of the smaller schools get a shot, but then in my actual brain I'm like, I want to see LSU play Texas. I want to see LSU play Georgia.
12-team playoff.
Yeah, but if they all play each other, then you're just seeing it again. And they're not going to let, you saw what happened when they let Cincinnati in the playoff last year. They get into the 4-team. They're not going to be able to beat Alabama. They played as good as they could. Desmond Ritter's good, and it's just the talent ain't the same.
Yeah. No, and I still think that this is going to be a clear divide, but between the haves and the have-nots, as Saban likes to call them. But I mean, that's what college football is trending towards. And the crowd of preserve and save and hold on to what college football was, that argument, it's already lost. They're paying the players. You know what I mean? Like, is there anything more futile than paying student athletes for the old guard? I mean, that's what the NCAA was built on. I mean, if these guys got a candy bar on the corner, they were coming down and trying to suspend and put on probation programs.
They were counting the gummy bears they got from LSU compliance. They told us that in class. They're like, you can only have this amount of, like, something from the union, something from whatever, like LSU's, I guess, health department, whatever you want to call it. They didn't have, like, a nutrition facility, but they couldn't get over a certain amount of candy without it going to compliance. Like, that's how buttoned up it was. And now you got NIL deals everywhere. Like, it's changed totally.
Yeah. I mean, it's totally changed. And 2 years from now, it's going to be completely different than it is today. Because NIL will have structure, the television deals will have landed, and once that hits, it's going to go to a completely different level. I mean, it just is. It's going to go to, because now there's going to be boardrooms of expectations of, like, power suits up there telling people how to run the league. Like, we're not doing LSU New Mexico.
It's a television product.
Yeah, right, absolutely. I mean, you've got to now, because you're paying, Big Ten's getting $7 billion from a combination of ESPN, Fox, and I believe NBC got in on the Big Ten. But $7 billion over 5 years. I mean, the SEC is going to bring in exponentially more than that. I don't even know the number that I would pull out of the air. I mean, because I feel like I would undervalue it. I really do. I mean, the SEC is minor league NFL. I mean, that's how it's looked upon. So, I mean, there's going to be billions upon billions of dollars that are going to be exchanged at this next negotiation, which is going to put, all of these problems that the college football world, or at least, this section of the college football world says that we can't afford to pay the player. The hell you can't, man. The hell you can't. You can sit down and make every SEC school, every head at every SEC school that plays football can make $50,000 a year minimum from the contracts that you've got from a television standpoint. Collectively bargain this thing, get NIL structured, make that a part of the game, and that's going to be what college football is. It's going to be totally different than what it is right now. Presently, as we sit here and talk, it's going to be completely different. There's going to be structure. There's going to be pay periods. There's going to be, pay scales. There's going to be
a job.
Yeah, it's a job. It's going to be a locker room. I think that you will have a general manager on staff, a real general manager, not the term general manager of what they're selling now. The Austin Thomas general manager role. It was completely different what he was doing, what it will be asked in 2 years from now. You'll be managing a ledger and looking at salaries. That's what's going to happen. So the old guard, the argument's dead. Save the game. Game's not.
Game's good.
Well, it's saving it how? Saving it how you want to say it? Because it's no longer even possible. Those options don't even exist. So, like 2 years from now, I believe that the Kent State Georgia game and the Chattanooga and Alabama game, or the ULM and Alabama game, and New Mexico and LSU game, it can't exist.
I mean, the reason I would imagine that everybody kind of knows this, right? But the reason that those games exist, it's a floater for to keep the program alive.
Absolutely.
Like like that's why I talk about like when you saw the A&M game versus Appalachian State. Appalachian State, we got paid $1.2 million to go down there and get a win. Like you
that's
gave,
awesome.
Yeah, you gave me a check, but that's what it is. It keeps App State afloat.
Yeah.
So when you go to this new format that's going to happen, I don't know how you sustain it for smaller programs, but you talked about LSU's schedule. And then the 2023 schedule came out, and they play Arkansas in week 4. Like, you go Florida State, Grambling, Mississippi State, at Mississippi State, and then you come home and play Arkansas. Like, those are that's kind of what you're talking about. If you take out the Grambling game, you can insert, Ole Miss.
Well, they should put Grambling a week ahead of Florida
State.
Yeah,
but I think that's a little recency bias on our part because LSU's been burned 2 years in a row by week 1 games being on national television, and LSU doesn't seem to have it, quite figured out. And so LSU fans who used to love the week 1 games where you're playing in Jerry's World, or you're going to, insert destination city, it was fun whenever you were good, but now whenever you're on tilt, it's kind of like, I wish we had a get right game first before you played the Florida State. You don't want to put your program out there and get exposed. And LSU felt like it got exposed the last 2 years. This year, a little bit different because they're able to correct some of the things that you would have gotten right had you played Southern first. So that's just kind of where the state of the LSU program is.
Remember, Daily, we're brought to you by Barker Brothers Plumbing and Works. Get in touch with our friends over at Barker Brothers and mention the Jordy Culotta Show and save yourself 15%. Over at Barker Brothers, 225-776-2431 is the phone number, 225-776-2431. Barker Brothers is number 1 and a number 2 business. They have experienced carpenters, plumbers on staff, ready for your next industrial or residential remodel. They cover Greater Baton Rouge every single day. They got a couple of trucks on the road in Baton Rouge every day. Get over and see them or call them, 225-776-2431. Store that into your phone under Barker Brothers Plumbing, 225-776-2431. So the next time that you have a plumbing issue, just call Jude and the crew over there. Tell them you heard it on the Jordy Culotta Show. Save yourself 15% on the bottom line and get some good service. Great service. Great name, Barker Brothers Plumbing and Works, 225-776-2431. 8 o'clock hour when we come back here. Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet.
Go, 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 go.
Hey Baton Rouge, when traveling through Natchez, Mississippi, whether you need to fill up your vehicle or your belly, stop by Go-Mart and On The Go Deli. Go-Mart has clean restrooms, community coffee, an awesome beer cave, and a great selection of anything you might need on your trip. So stop by Go-Mart at 4 Sergeant Prentice Drive as you're entering Natchez on the left, and visit Tom and Wright Granning and their awesome team at Go-Mart.
Do you suffer from chronic dehydration? Are you looking to improve your athletic performance and you need to get over and see our friends over at GoFlow IV? They're located on Jefferson Highway. Easy to find them online at GEAUXFlowIV.com. Make sure and use the promo code Jordy Culotta Show. If you do, they'll take 15% off of your initial visit. Check them out online, GEAUXFlowIV.com. Hey fellas, it's Jordy Culotta for my friends over at Men's Total Health. Guys, do you suffer from fatigue, decreased libido, erectile dysfunction, weight gain or loss of muscle mass, signs of depression, anxiety, hair loss, mental fog, general loss of interest? Then you might be suffering from low testosterone. Go see my friend Mike Roach and his great team over at Men's Total Health, over in Metairie at menstotalhealth.net online. Stop in and see how they can change your life today. A simple shot and some knowledge from Mike Roach can get you back up, moving with your energy, get your sex drive back, build your muscle mass, make you feel young again. All online, menstotalhealth.net.
Looking to book a dumpster but no idea how? We've made it quick and easy for you. Check out our website at moralesrolloffs.com. Let Morales Roll-Offs know your desired delivery date, and finally, provide your contact details. To make payment, look out for an email invoice with all your booking details. On delivery day, our driver will notify you through text and email that your dumpster is ready and on the way. Now you know how easy and convenient it is. Call Morales Roll-Offs at 225-427-0000 for your dumpster.
Hey Baton Rouge, when traveling through Natchez,
Donaldsonville Glass and Body, Trusted name in frame, body, and automotive paint repair since 1977. They have served their customers for over 45 years. You can find them online at dgbauto.com or stop in and see them Railroad Avenue and Division Street out in Donaldsonville, Louisiana. Look, they can help you with your insurance claims. They can make the repair process as stress-free as possible. I'm speaking from experience here. I've got numerous windshields, body repair, all done by Kenny and the crew over at Donaldsonville Glass and Body. They are, without question, the most well-equipped shop in the area. Stop in and see them today. Shop them online, dgbauto.com, or stop in and see the crew over in Division Street in Donaldsonville, Louisiana. Donaldsonville Glass and Body. Red Stick Sports, a local staple in Baton Rouge to all sports fans, was founded back in 1981 and has remained a family business for over 40 years. Today, they still have the great selection on the floor, but they're also a leader in custom apparel for businesses, sports teams, and other groups. Take it from us, everybody over here at FM Digital Media. They help us out with all of our apparel. Let them help you out today. Go ask for Cody over at Red Stick Sports. Check him out online at redsticksports.biz. I was embarrassed about my smile. Are you unhappy at yours? Do you not smile back at yourself? I called my friend, Dr. Spillers, over at Johnson Spillers. He fixed my smile, and now everywhere I go, people are complimenting it after the work that Dr. Spillers and the staff did to my mouth. They can do it to yours. Get in touch with them. JohnsonSpillers.com. 2 locations, one in Gonzales, one in Baton Rouge. Easy to find them, JohnsonSpillers.com. We love the crew over at Fresh Chef Kitchen. Chef Shane and his crew dropping off the meals every Monday here to FM Digital Media, whether it's breakfast, lunch, dinner. Me or the crew's going through our meals over at Fresh Chef Kitchen. Their weekly pre-order, freshly made meals, or you can walk into the cooler over there on Airline Highway. They have that fresh, same service over there at Fresh Chef Eats. FreshChefEats.com is where you can find them online. Fresh Chef Kitchen. Tell them you heard it right here on the Jordy Culotta Show.
In a wreck, Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys is ready to go to work for you. Come meet your team.
I'm your intake specialist. I coordinate your case and connect you with your attorney and paralegal.
That's us, your legal team.
Thanks.
And we'll fight to get you every dollar you deserve.
I'm your settlements and disbursement manager, and I'm here to get you paid on time.
I'm attorney Gordon McKernan. Put our team to work today. Just call us. Get it done.
Sports with it.
It's just like anything else. I mean, I don't want to get into hyperbole, but it's, everything is. I mean, frankly, I'm still worried more about concussions. We don't talk about it much anymore, but, we've kind of helped solve it in a lot of ways and make the game a lot safer. So anytime we have existential threats, which this one could or could not be, we just deal with it, and we will deal with it. It's just part of the game. And, I don't mind a lot of what's come out of this movement of doing more for the student athletes, but like anything else, it boomerangs a little too far, and you got to swing it back into what we do for the student athletes. And it's a hell of a lot, and I'm proud of that fact that we are leaders in doing that, but we're going to do it right. The Tiger Athletic Foundation and in partnership, obviously, hand in hand with what we do, funded a master plan study because I wanted to see, hey, what we needed, and I just didn't want my opinion. I've been a few places, and I have a good one, I think, but you just want to see how and what our needs are, and so we're in that process of looking at it, and obviously the PMAC is 50 years old this year, and probably needs some updating. It's got good bones, and maybe we can see what we can do with that. Same thing with all that, property that we have both down Nicholson and where we are currently on Nicholson and North Stadium. Is that, hey, is this the proper use and best use for that? And hand in hand with the university and what we do with TAF, we'll make those decisions, and we'll be prudent and thinking about what and how we do. Yeah, it's kind of weird in a perverse way, Jordy, you know me well, is that I kind of relish I do like it. I'm one of the few people that embraces it, and we're very lucky at LSU to have it, to be where we are and to be able to do that. I mean, I can't say that for everyone in the business because it is unsettling in a lot of ways. But for us, change is a good thing, and I think we're going to be the beneficiary of it. And it's not gonna stop. It's just gonna keep on going. Yeah. And I'd be lying to you if I told you I had a crystal ball and could tell you what was going on, and what's gonna happen. But we're gonna be here and we're gonna embrace it and we're gonna take advantage of it the best we can.
Fiction. Here's all that kid did. He goes to class. He's respectful to the media. He's respectful to the public. And he's a good kid. And he's not a professional athlete. And he doesn't deserve to be kicked when he's down. That's why I don't read the newspaper. Because it's garbage. And the editor that let it come out is garbage. Come after me. I'm a man. I'm 40. I'm not a kid. Write something about me or our coaches. That's all I got to say. Makes me want to puke.
Years ago today, Mike Gundy meeting with the press. That was so incredible to see. I remember watching that live.
Absolutely.
Like being like, there's no way this is real.
Then it was funny. We were talking on the break, and we were like, 15 years ago, he's like, I'm a man. I'm 40. He's been at that job for 15 years since then. Like now, Matt Gundy's 55 with a mullet.
How long had he been there?
I don't know, but I think that kind of cemented his legacy as I'm the Oklahoma State head coach. I'm staying. Like he's a legacy guy now, forever.
Oh, forever. I mean, he'll have like a building named after him.
You talk about like what he did. We're like that had to play in the locker room. The man held up a piece of newspaper. Well, how did he end it? What did he say at the end of the quote? He's like garbage.
It made me want to puke.
Makes me want to puke.
Makes me want to puke. I forgot that he got a standing ovation.
Yeah, you think
Play it again, dude.
He's getting a standing ovation for the people he's ripping. Like,
yeah, right. Well, I think that guy must have been hated in the room.
The Glenn Gilbo.
Yeah.
When did this happen?
15 years ago. Have you ever heard this?
No,
Carpool Queen, good morning.
I was
good to see you.
at the right moment. Good morning.
Good
Traffic
morning.
was awful.
Sounds like it.
Awful.
I was 10 years old. This is crazy.
10 years.
It's fiction.
Look at the fiction.
This is fiction.
Here's all that kid did. He goes to class. He's respectful to the media. He's respectful to the public. And he's a good kid. And he's not a professional athlete. And he doesn't deserve to be kicked when he's down. That's why I don't read the newspaper. Because it's garbage.
It's the all-time for Coach Rand.
Let it come out is garbage. Come after me. I'm a man. I'm 40. I'm not a kid. Write something about me or our coaches. That's all I got to say. Makes me want to puke.
Wait, who's he talking about?
People.
Yeah, shit.
All right.
He just coached up the whole. Coached up the press. And like, okay, this is what it feels like. Like, imagine what the players have to go through if he's this mad at me.
Years, bro. 15
Who's the
years
kid he's
ago.
talking about?
I think it was the kicker.
I think it was a quarterback.
Was it quarterback?
I think they had like a backup quarterback play. I could be totally wrong, but
Y'all don't even know. It's
No.
just the rant.
It's the rant.
That's getting you.
It was 15 years ago today.
Oh, really?
That
This
happened.
is the anniversary
Yeah.
of that
Yeah.
rant? I wonder if we'll have an anniversary of any of your rants one day.
Lloyd's?
Yours.
Lloyd.
Like
I
your
don't have
last
any
month. Yeah, like your, what?
I would love to, you got to go back to when you were at your other venture, and I would imagine there's some Les Miles things that we could probably cut up from 2015.
We've had Les Miles rants here.
Right, but like imagine Jordy like like when it was happening. That's what I started my day off with every day.
I'd love to see that post-Auburn.
I was muzzled then.
Oh, I would imagine.
Like I couldn't talk about because it
would seep in.
I would go off every once in a while, and as soon as I would get out of there, Gordy would be like waiting in the hall with his arms folded.
The principal's office.
Yeah, I'd be like, I'd be walking out of the room to go refill my water, and he'd be.
Culotta.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah. Was it that?
You can't call him Leslie. I don't know how many times I have to fucking tell you, you cannot call him Leslie. Gordy, it's his real name. It's his birth certificate.
Yeah. His real name is Leslie. It's not Lester.
No, it's Leslie.
Oh, I wish it was Lester.
Calling him Leslie. That's his name.
Because I would, call it like degrading him.
Leslie.
It's still his name.
What is Leslie thinking down on the sidelines? He's got his finger shoved into his ear hole.
It's never a turn
with his mouth open, staring at the scoreboard. Like, what is Leslie doing?
There's 3 seconds left.
Now there's 2 seconds
left.
But
I only have 3 seconds left.
But I have 3 timeouts.
It's all right. Don't worry about it.
Now, Broncos Nation, let's ride, because that's what you in for right now. It's the worst feeling in the world. Whatever that Rebecca's dad has like a famous saying. Whenever Les was coaching, he'd be like, "I was yelling timeout." Obviously, he heard me. Like, you got to get one here. He was just like, everybody in the stadium's telling you to do something, and you're just blatantly ignoring him. Like, if 90,000 people probably think it at one time, maybe you should consider their opinion, or maybe don't. Do it the Les Miles way. It's like, what are they saying?
Coaches on the sidelines telling you to call the timeout.
Or we could hire somebody that's like, hey, maybe you should do this here, and it's like, nah, I got it.
Toss dive.
Yeah, right. We'll get back on the ball. No, wait, actually, I want to sub in a bunch of people.
Fake field goal here.
Yeah, it's 3rd down.
You sure? Yeah, why not?
But
I didn't mean to accidentally get us on the Les Miles rant. Jeez.
Well, that's what happens when you play New Mexico State.
Leslie.
I guess so.
Leslie.
It's New Mexico.
Who did y'all play this week? Bowling Green.
Exactly.
Green. Like, see, like this.
I mean, the game tonight, Browns, Pittsburgh. Like
football starting off bad this week.
Well, it started off so strong. They came out swinging, and now it was an orgy, and now I'm married.
We gotta have a lazy week. Right. This is a good time for
not in week 4.
Yeah, I'm ready to.
I mean, I've been lazy. I've been lazy all summer.
I'm ready to talk shit about TJ Finley next week.
That's the thing about TJ.
This is the lazy week, and then after this, like
we're back into it.
It's on.
Oh, it's on and popping.
Well, yeah. I mean, October pops.
Yeah.
In college football.
Yeah. So I'd rather have it now.
Where's game day?
Then.
This week, I would say
they have to be at the Tennessee.
I think, right?
Rocky Top.
On the water.
I'm pretty sure.
So. Oh, if they're on the water,
I'm telling you,
McAfee has to take the dive again. Like that poor guy. They're like, "Would you do? Like, can you entertain us?" And he's like, "I'm not okay. Yeah, I'll do it." Yeah, but he's like, "No, okay, I'll do it." Yeah, actually, but
it's a great idea.
Yeah, I mean, you think that'll get numbers? Like, yeah, dude, you doing a belly flop into the water off a boat that you got into the river that you got arrested in whenever you played for the NFL, that'll probably do numbers. They're like, don't do it. He's like, well, now I want to do it.
Yeah,
like,
now I'm going to do it.
Yeah, it's freezing cold. Like, he's the perfect addition to the game day staff because that thing will never get stale. And they put him right in the middle of the desk.
Yeah, they did.
Shows their desperation.
Yeah, well, because Lee Corso is
dead,
moving it like Bernie.
I mean, like, I don't understand. I just don't get it.
But what a terrible spot to be in. Yeah, how do you move him along?
I mean, there has to be somebody in there. There has to be a 40-year-old TV executive that can have a tough decision or conversation with Lee Corso or his representative and say, guys, this is a television product that we are trying to aim towards the younger crowd, right? Like, our demographic is over.
Stop stealing signs from them.
Yeah, but don't you think this year it got worse than normal? Like,
I think the last
give me that
showed up this year. I feel like he's half dead this year.
You could pick up clips from the last 5 years. You could make a highlight reel of the last 5 years.
Kirk Herbstreit is holding his hand.
He's holding his hand. It feels
sad.
Like hospice care. Not that I know anything about that,
but it also feels it's very sad. Like, I mean, if
I
was Lee Corso's family, I would be like, okay, dad, grandfather, like
Call Dr. Kevorkian.
It's over. Yeah, like it's over, man. Like just
well,
come
it's not,
watch.
He's not even funny anymore.
Yeah, it's not,
no, it's not funny. It's sad.
It's sad.
It is sad.
Like I feel bad for him.
I feel guilty watching almost.
I know.
And complaining about it.
Like when he's talking, I almost have to look away in the sense of, I'm like, this is tough to watch.
Because it's not what it is. It's not what it's supposed to be because you have all of the... I mean, he started it. Like, Lee Corso was game day, and now you see him struggling to talk.
He's
and
the Biden of college football now.
Give me that head.
Like, it's like watching
Give me that
Biden.
head.
It is.
But he's worse than Biden.
Yeah,
well, yeah.
Like,
but I mean, it's similar.
But like the social, like the social media aspect, where it's like it's this people like it's a puttering old man.
Coach Biden up, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, give him a little hit of pneumonia under his nose, wake him up. You know what I mean? Like you got a 60 Minutes interview, Joe. Like snap this up, bro.
Yeah. Maybe
you got
McAfee
30
can
minutes.
Revitalize him a little bit. Maybe.
I mean, like Corso is just
like,
give him a shot of adrenaline.
It's got to be the last year, and I feel like with McAfee on, maybe that is the way.
They're transitioning him out,
Yeah.
And I think McAfee probably knows that. Where you put me right in the middle of the shit, whenever like, I just ordered the game day stuff. Like I'm sitting middle desk, like, okay, I'm about to be the next Lee Corso.
Mm-hmm.
Give me that head.
Yeah.
Give me that head.
Wait, why are you saying "give me that head"? What?
Well, that's what he says like, when he
But
does the
one
that's
time
what he
he
says.
That's
Give me
right.
Yeah. Some people
and Hershey's always like, Jesus, man.
Because now on social media, people just clip it and like send it on Tinder. You know, like giving late night LSU, like, give me that head. And they're like, oh, this is great.
And I will say that like the later days that LSU had Les, I always thought that this would have been a great transition for Les.
He turned out to be a screaming pervert.
Yeah, I never knew that he was, like trying to rape everybody behind the walls.
Give me that head.
Speaking of trying to rape girls, not
allegedly.
Did you see the new girl on game day? She's really good looking.
Easy.
Oh, Stewie.
Such a weird.
Sensual. Give me that head.
That's a weird entry point.
Yeah,
Give me that head.
Speaking of trying to
And I
rape,
haven't
and then
seen
did you
her.
see that girl?
Les would probably
I'll have
get
her.
in trouble first week.
Right?
Oh, no doubt.
Speaking of rape,
Stewie can't wait for game day to come to LSU. He'd be missing a sideline reporter. Hey, I produced for the Jordy Culotta show.
I'm pulling cable all weekend, boys.
Pulling rope.
Yeah, right.
Older rope.
But I mean, I always thought like Les, like if you would have put the hat on the table, rather than the costume head, and like put the goofy hat on, looked into the camera and like pointed and winked, like did whatever stupid shit he could do. But then it came out that he was.
But I think they're
trying to run his fingers up
but
everybody in the building.
Knuckles deep.
I can feel your back sweat.
Come sit on this couch.
Shit. Oh my God.
This one right here.
I mean, this is the way, because when you talk about like the audience of what college game day is, I think they saw the market getting divided when you have Barstool going to campuses and they're playing it like they walk into it like flicking everybody off.
Because that's the
demo. It's 18 to 22.
That's the crowd. Like Barstool is over here. Like ESPN execs have to be like they're eating up all of our audience.
Yeah, they're playing
like,
into what it is instead of stealing shit from them.
This old man's hand, trying to respect him on the way out, and meanwhile, our competition is coming in and chewing up a lot of our demographic. Like
throwing
somebody
beers
had
to
a
him.
hard decision and a conversation with his agent or him, and tell him respectfully,
"You're dead.
It's over. It's over, man. You had a hell of a run. I mean, like your name will be on the product for to infamy, but." The present day Lee Corso is not suited to travel campus to campus, give me analysis on college football games that he knows nothing about. And it's just it is one of the saddest like send-offs I've ever seen.
It's not a victory
think
tour.
of like Bob Barker at the end.
Yeah, it is just like that.
Like I remember like watching Bob Barker at the end and being like, Bob,
God damn that Bob Barker.
Why?
Knowing
man?
those aren't his teeth.
Yes.
Like
let me see
that's how I feel
you
about Lee.
as like I did as a kid, like knowing you were banging all of the Barker beauties.
Yeah.
Like I mean, like that's who you are, man. Now you look dead. Why are you doing this to why are you allowing me to think of you like this into this part of your life? Like just come back around and chill on game day back in the back, and everybody, look, there's Lee. Hey,
Yeah.
Lee, yeah, man.
Just be like the face of it and never talk. Like he could still be a part of it in some way. That's what they should do. He can't be on set.
Not so fast.
Or just every
Wait, what do I say again?
segment.
Not so fast, my friend. And he's like, it almost feels like it's choreographed now. Like he's like, wait, what's my line? Not so fast, my friend. And then he'll pick the same team as the guy that.
Yeah.
And it's like.
Yeah, he's not all there.
Slow down, sweetheart.
Yeah.
You know, it's like
Sunshine Scooter. But he had the.
I hate to say
if you're ESPN, you had the opportunity during COVID, whenever you locked him in his house and said like they were still doing the show, just should have just kept him there.
No doubt about it.
Like you could do your hit,
that's the saddest part is that they've had opportunities, and hiring Pat McAfee into the like they hired him like in week 2, right?
Yeah, after week 1, whenever
because
it was
they were like
debacle.
They looked at it and were like, "Holy shit, boys! Like we're losing.
It's over.
Maybe one of the biggest and best media entities ever created."
They put all of I think ESPN puts more assets into College Game Day than they put almost anything.
Well, they should, because it is a rolling lottery ticket. You know what I mean? Like
unless it's dead.
It's brought to you by the Home Depot, bro. You know what that pitch is like? That sales pitch is like? You know, walking in there as a television product and asking Home Depot to title sponsor. That's a big conversation with a huge number attached to it.
It has to be a contractual thing with Lee. Like there's something we don't know.
There's no way. I mean, there's gotta be enough. This is Disney we're talking about. Disney owns ESPN. You know what I mean? There's got to be a lawyer somewhere that says, I can get you out of this contract.
I don't know. He might be like Walt, where he just frees him. Like, isn't Walt's head still laying around somewhere? Yeah, like they took his brain and kept it.
Maybe do that.
Free
Lee Corso?
Yeah, just like
freeze Corso?
Stuff him and travel with him on game day.
Give me that head.
Give me that head.
I mean, he looks stuffed basically.
What if you did have a dead Lee Corso, but you still put the head on top of him? It just.
Fuck it. Give me that.
See, he did but that's when he was at his best. There were some years when he was like a little senile.
That's right.
And he was cussing on TV, and you're like, "This is great.
I'm in for this."
Yeah, but if you're Barstool, you're like, "Oh my God, we can do this." Like if they're laughing at this. Imagine if we play into it all the way where we're coming on stage, like, here's fucking 12 high noons into the crowd. Like, do whatever you want. Throw up. We don't care. Like, this is the brand.
We're on a college campus.
Right. What do you think's going to happen? Instead of stealing signs from kids that say, like, STDDB, and they're like, we know what that means. Take that down. It's like, what do you think we were going to do here?
Right.
Like, they don't let them drink inside. If you go to game day, like, you can't go in with anything that's not like approved. It's like trying to get into a concert. Like you can't bring a drink in.
Well, I think at LSU is where they put the net up because somebody threw a golf ball towards his head when he picked Bama and hit him right in the back of the head.
And that's what caused it all. Knocked him into
really
senility.
Steal a sign from someone?
Oh, they don't steal a sign. They just won't let you bring it in.
That says like
they have like sign checkers.
Well, why do they let the Jesus signs who are like they're up there like blocking everything, like every camera angle? They make sure like the huge Jesus sign is showing.
I mean, John 3:16 has been about our football.
It drives me crazy. But the last 2 weeks, there have been no Jesus signs.
They probably took them.
It's so distracting. It's all I see, which I know that's what the people want you to see, but I hate that.
So they don't let you bring drinks to game day at LSU?
Like if you try to get like if there's like an inner circle,
the game day part.
like it's like policed
by
the
ones right behind the camera.
Yeah, like if you wanted to be on screen.
But any of
the
and
I went there. Yeah, I went there one time, and I was like, oh, game day's on campus, and I was young. I was like, this will be fun, and I go over there, and they're like, you can't bring that in. You can't bring. I was like, well, man, fuck this. Like, I mean, I'm going to tailgate then. Never mind. Like I thought we were like standing around drinking, watching. Like this would be cool, and they're like. It's like trying to get into a concert.
Yeah,
it's like, okay, never mind. All right, this is way too big. I'm going back to where I came from. Right. Yeah, y'all aren't cool.
Sucks over here.
Yeah, if these people that said yes to like taking everything away from them, I don't want to hang out with those people. Yeah. Like the whole group is weird.
It's such a great idea for a show.
Yeah.
Like how it originated, how it first got popular, and when it was really in its prime, there was nothing like it. Like there was nothing like that on sports programming.
I know. Well, it's still so exciting.
It's awesome.
Every time it comes on, it's
still
like
cool, but it doesn't have the it's very corporate.
Its luster.
It's very commercial.
Yeah.
It's very,
it is.
I mean, Chris Fowler was the best host of it. I love Reese Davis. I know that people don't like Reese because he's a Bama guy, but he's a very good television host.
Yeah.
You can, I mean, he's very versatile. You can put him in a lot of arenas and he will carry a broadcast, and that's hard to do, especially live broadcasts on campus where you've got people yelling, screaming, there's people in your ear, there's all types of things going on. I've worked on this show 3 times. When they would come to Baton Rouge, they would always ask for production assistants to, go help them with whether it was crowd control or whether it was throwing stuff out during the breaks with people. One year, T-Bob and I walked around and did some on the ground type interviewing when they were in the parade grounds. Because they would always call ESPN radio locally and be like, can y'all send some people over? And it was just incredible to see, for the first time behind the scenes, first off, how many people are on the game day set. I mean, it's over 150 people. It's 2 18-wheelers that travel.
Yeah.
They leave Baton Rouge and they're on the road heading to the next setup.
Yeah.
And they start setting up on Tuesday of game week. They start running wire and cable on Tuesday of game week, and there's makeup artist, there is production, there is editor. I mean, there is a full rolling television studio. What is that?
Division I Committee on Infractions press call today for LSU at noon. Not to interrupt you, but it feels like that's kind of breaking.
It does feel like that.
Where'd you get that?
Yeah.
Jock.
Oh, JD.
Zoom press call to discuss an in-state Division I Committee on Infractions panel decision regarding LSU, 1 p.m. Eastern today, 12 o'clock Central, obviously. Dave Roberts, Chief Hearing Officer for the panel and Special Advisor to Southern California, is leading it. So I don't know what this means for LSU. I'd imagine it's probably tethered to both LSU basketball and maybe some LSU football, right? But I don't want to speak on it because I'm not the one that you want to hear this from. I'm not educated on the matter, but I just know that it's happening. Maybe we should call JD.
Where is it going to be? Oh, it's a Zoom?
It's a Zoom call. We need to be on that call at noon today. It's noon Central.
I think we have to get a link. I don't think we're invited.
We're with WAFB.
Class.
Mm-hmm.
Did they put that out there, or you just got that from Jock?
Put it out.
Okay. He tweeted it?
Yeah. Somehow it took me to Facebook, and I'm I've never felt more lost.
Do you have a Facebook?
No, I don't. That's why I'm just stuck here. I don't know what to go to next.
I wouldn't either.
I was just okay, I'm about to just exit out. I've read all I could.
Scared to stay in there.
Yeah, I don't know what.
Might be in the metaverse next.
Yeah, I don't want to be on here.
Yeah, I bet they have makeup artists that travel with them because Lee Corso is airbrushed, 100% airbrushed.
He might not be real.
His whole.
He might just be made of clay.
Have you seen
they 3D printed Lee Corso?
Have you seen Herb Street's videos before game day? He posts videos of Corso before game day, and it's just Corso's just making weird noises, just stealing
before they're
snacks.
On camera. You mean
before they're on the show, and he's stealing snacks.
I mean,
no.
He's sitting in a room by himself.
I do that show.
Oh wow! The LSU infractions ruling will be announced at noon today, and the NCAA will be holding a Zoom press conference. This is huge news.
Stephen Miller says it's 11 a.m. Central Time.
Well,
I saw that, right?
Saw it that it's 12.
What are you seeing? Where are you seeing that? Are you on Twitter?
This is how news breaks on a live TV show.
This totally is. Cordell also said Zoom call will be at 11.
Okay, the press release says 1 o'clock Eastern Time. So
that would be 12 o'clock Central.
That would be noon Central, but
right?
there are
it's
people
there
are people out there that are saying that it's coming at 11 o'clock. The press release says
this is so NCAA.
It's at 1 p.m. Eastern, but this is huge. This is huge. LSU infractions ruling will be announced. Am I reading this correctly? I just want to make sure I'm reading this correctly before I make my opinion on this. But the LSU infractions ruling will be announced at noon today, and the NCAA will be holding a Zoom press conference to make that announcement.
So what's going to happen then?
It sounds like
what
they're
do we think's
going to it sounds like they're going to announce what happened with LSU football and basketball.
And then what?
And
then we have Will Wade on tomorrow.
And then you will know what they're dealing with, what the penalties are. I mean, what if there are any.
Why are they doing this now?
The tides have changed at the NCAA, move at their own pace. Whenever they decide to do something, it's like the White House. Whenever they make a ruling, it's like, oh, we're more important than anything else here.
Press conference.
Yeah, we're get on the. You know how to work that Zoom call? That's the people that you're dealing with. Where it's like, am I on? Yeah, you just masturbated on screen. Actually, oh, I didn't mean to join the call yet. That man.
You're actually on now.
Yeah. Oh. Hello.
So the report is released at 11. The Zoom conference is at noon.
Perry White.
P. White.
That's the deal.
Say it again?
The report will be released at 11. The Zoom conference is at noon.
Okay. So you will know what the ruling is at 11, and then you'll be able to hear
they're not
from
going
the
live.
NCAA and ask your questions at noon today. So I would say that LSU right now already knows what the penalty is.
Have to, right?
I doubt that they would find out real time when the report is published at 11 o'clock like everybody else. They might. I don't know.
Why don't you get on that phone?
Yeah, let me see if we can
get on
find
that horn and see what you can find.
Come on, Kingmaker.
Information here, but it is. This will be a big day because this will be a monumental day of where you learn what could be next for LSU. Let's take a quick break and we'll be right back. Katie, tell them about Dead Sox.
Figure this out, y'all. Dead Sox, they use the code Jordy to get up to 25% off. Don't forget you can do custom orders, which make great Christmas gifts, which is coming up very soon. Or get your purple and gold socks. They basically ship overnight. Get those athletic
He's
socks,
on the move.
He's
on the move.
It's deadsoxy.com, deadsoxy.com, and make sure to use the code Jordy. And we'll be right back.
Might be an extended break or a very short break.
We're all from different places and backgrounds. We've each experienced our own versions of life, but in the end, we're all on the same team. I'm part of that team, along with these players in purple and gold.
Kayshawn Buddha, Malik Neighbors, Miles Frazier,
Kyron Lacey, Greg Brooks. Whether on the field or in the courtroom, your team matters.
So join our team. Make a difference. Bet. Let's get it done.
Best athlete to come out of New Iberia, Mark Roman?
Kayshawn Buddha.
Kayshawn? Wow.
Right now, Kayshawn, Mark was a little bit before me. I was a ball boy. When Mark was playing at New Iberia Senior High School, I played like right after Mark. But has done some things, and just the things that you guys are seeing Kayshawn do, that he's not even scratching the surface of what we saw on a day-to-day basis at practice. He's unreal. He's unreal.
He's so natural. It's so so easy. It looks so easy to him.
Yes, it's so easy, and there's never been another a competitor I've ever seen like Kayshawn. Kayshawn would not lose going to eat pregame meal. He has to be the first. He's the ultimate competitor. He would not lose. So trust me, he will be ready.
Man, so kind of when I entered the transfer portal, I knew, what type of facility, what type of, program I wanted to go to. Being that before I committed to Ohio State, my first unofficial was to LSU.
Oh, wow.
And but that was when Coach O and Coach Raymond was here or whatever. But definitely the coaches, the scheme Kelly, trying to bring in, trying to implement, his way of going, like detailed person. That's where I wanted to be. I knew I wanted to be.
Did you have any experience with Coach Kelly?
No, I had no experience. No.
Really? Who was your main recruiter from LSU?
Sherman Wilson. Yeah, he was. Stay consistent. Honest. Just gave it to me straight.
Yeah.
And this is where I wanted to be.
How do you feel about that number at this university playing that position?
Yeah, man, I definitely want it. I definitely. You want to come in and prove, to my teammates, not just the coaches, but to my teammates that I got to go play with, that, I deserve it. And once I do that, then, everything is, up from there. Yeah.
Hey fellas, it's Jordy Culotta for my friends over at Men's Total Health. Guys, do you suffer from fatigue, decreased libido, erectile dysfunction, weight gain or loss of muscle mass, signs of depression, anxiety, hair loss, mental fog, general loss of interest? Then you might be suffering from low testosterone. Go see my friend Mike Roach and his great team over at Men's Total Health, over in Metairie at menstotalhealth.net online. Stop in and see how they can change your life today. A simple shot and some knowledge from Mike Roach can get you back up, moving with your energy, get your sex drive back, build your muscle mass, make you feel young again. All online, menstotalhealth.net.
Southern Eye Center is located at 6859 Jefferson Highway right here in Baton Rouge, has been serving your eyes for over 40 years in the capital region. They offer friendly service in a helpful environment with the highest level of personal care to manage your eye health and vision needs. If you want more information, log online to southerneyecenters.com. That is southerneyecenters.com. Stop in and check out their beautiful office located on Jefferson Highway right here in the capital city. And remember, each time you walk in there and you mention the Jordy Culotta Show, Dr. Ann Shaw and Southern Eye Centers will take 25% off of their fantastic selection of sunglasses. All you got to do is mention the Jordy Culotta Show. Check them out. southerneyecenters.com and located at 6859 Jefferson Highway.
Looking to book a dumpster but no idea how? We've made it quick and easy for you. Check out our website at moralesrolloffs.com. Let Morales Roll-Offs know your desired delivery date, and finally, provide your contact details. To make payment, look out for an email invoice with all your booking details. On delivery day, our driver will notify you through text and email that your dumpster is ready and on the way. Now you know how easy and convenient it is. Call Morales Roll-Offs at 225-427-0000 for your dumpster.
Wade. Welcome back here to the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet. Pat 40 back on it today, man.
Wake him up.
20 minutes ago, tweeting LSU infractions ruling today at noon per NCAA release. Hunker down.
This is his Christmas.
He is.
Oh,
I mean, he is
this
up.
is.
And then he says, of note here.
Okay.
This is not the LSU case that went to the IARP.
AARP.
IARP.
It's the Independent Administrative Review Panel.
Okay.
That's a great.
Okay.
I mean,
Check
what a
me on
pull.
that.
But that sounds right.
It
Check
does
me on
sound
that.
right.
If I'm creating homework, that one's just going
Google
through.
IARP from NCAA. Of note, this is from Pat 40. Of note here, this is not the LSU case that went to IARP.
The Independent Accountability Resolution Process.
What a fake.
The
what a
fucking
fake place that
NCAA
is.
with their acronyms and their let's put a bunch of capital letters together.
Involved men's basketball and football allegations. This is a separate LSU case, not the mushroom cloud case that has been covered intensely. Pat 40.
Fucking mushroom stampede, Pat 40.
So I don't know what this could be. If it's not the LSU case dealing with men's basketball or football allegations, this could be a university-wide report or infractions ruling today that comes down on the university of, what they were dealing with Title IX and sexual harassment and what was going on there. So who knows? We will we'll pay attention. We got a couple of texts in. Sounds like a lot of people up at LSU right now are pretty busy. So we will let you know. Also, we are very busy over here at FM Digital Media. We got a lot of cool stuff happening right now. We just announced that we got Hold the Rope with Skip Burtman and Kano and TK. That's over here on Tuesday nights. We've been doing the Mikey Matuk show with Mic'd Up, Rohan, and Where My Dog's At. Back tonight on Thursday, 6 o'clock. Tune in. And then we got a couple of more shows that we are developing because we are just finalizing and should be testing equipment in our new studio today that looks beautiful. I can't wait to show it off. And the first show that is going to come out of the new studio is going to be Chopping It Up with Kador. Our guy, Roger Kador, is a former, longtime, legendary Southern baseball coach and has done a lot of media over the years, TV, radio, and is still a very integral part of our community. Is going to be here every Monday morning at 10 o'clock. We've got Chopping It Up with Kador, YouTube built, and his co-host and will-be producer of that show is the legend, Perry White. You see him on high school football fields on Friday nights. You see him all over the community, and you will hear him on Mondays, a part of Chopping It Up with Kador that's set to begin next week. And Reg is here. Good morning, big fella. How we doing, bro?
Legend. I don't know if I'm ready. I'm still a young guy, man. I'm not ready.
But you've been in the game for too long. You've been in the game a minute. Legacy.
Exciting times, though, bro. We're excited about what's going on over here and bringing you guys aboard and the show. Tell me a little bit about the show and what to expect.
So first, man, it's great to be a part of the team, man. And, Coach Kador reached out to me and said, he wanted to be a part of this younger generational move. He had been doing his show on cable television, and I kind of got with Coach Kador and said, TV, as we move forward, is almost like radio. It still has a place, but you kind of limit yourself when you talk about the perspective and the range of where you can go. And so he said, well, what should I do? And he always calls me PJ. I don't know why. Why the hell?
It's just your name now.
It is my name. And,
I called him PJ in a meeting, and I didn't get that.
Yeah.
My bad.
Is somebody else joining us?
My bad, Perry.
Yeah, so I'm Perry, but I have a son. My son is PJ. So I think he's probably heard me talk to my son enough to say PJ. So now it doesn't matter. When he called me, he said, oh, PJ, how are you doing today? And I'm like, I just roll with it.
Give your phone to your son.
Yeah, I just take it. I'm like, I guess I'm forever going to be PJ, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, Coach got with me, and we decided to move in a different direction, more podcasting. So he told me he got with you guys, and, we discussed some ideas and some ways to go. We came up with Chopping It Up with Kador. Thought maybe that'd be a little bit new spin. His other show was the Roger Kador show.
Right.
That sounds so TV, right?
It does.
The Roger Kador show. So, adding a new flair to it. And, Coach Kador is a guy who is a legend. Now, that's a legend. I swear, I don't know if I'm quite ready to put my name amongst saying legend, but a guy who has won championships and has been successful. You're talking about a 40-year, 30-year time period, and knows a lot of people across the United States. Very, very connected when you talk about Major League Baseball, when you talk about players, coaches, organizations, when you head offices. And so, for me, it's an honor to even be able to sit down with him and be able to pick his brain and get an opportunity to show people that he's more than just a baseball coach, but to actually get to see who Roger Kador, not just Coach Kador, but who Roger Kador is as a man. And, one thing I tell him, I said, you like to be around young people, don't you? He was like, why you say that? I said, because as a coach, generationally, you have been around since the 70s as a head coach. You have literally dealt with 18 to 20-year-olds each generation from the 70s all the way through the 2000s. So that's a story to tell when you talk about the difference, especially when you look at coaching today when it's so tied into social media and the internet, when he's coming from a day of probably just, radio, simply that, and how you interact and communicate, plus just all the people and connections he's had over the years. I think it's a story worth telling, but not just from a politically correct standpoint, but from a very broad and open way of having a conversation about it.
Just real quick, I don't mean to interrupt, but I'm trying to still keep up with the ruling that's going to happen at 11. Per Ross Dillinger, the LSU infractions ruling being released today is expected to center around former Tiger offensive line coach James Craig Sources tell SI Now Craig was fired before last season for accusations of recruiting violations committed during the COVID dead period. So that's what it's about.
Gotcha.
Just wanted to get that in there. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No problem.
He interrupted, man. Come on, man.
My bad.
Talking about some
breaking news over there.
He's like breaking news.
Yeah. Lee Corson's dead.
Perry White, who is going to be the producer and co-host of Chopping It Up with Kador. How cool was last week for everybody? We talked about our experience of Southern LSU, being out there and seeing that for the first time. How about from your experience? What was that like last weekend, watching that game and seeing all of the pageantry that went around it for our city?
Well, I got 4 eyes, as you can tell. 2 right here and 2 more. Oh, man.
You're seeing triple.
Let me tell you. From my perspective, a lot of beautiful ladies. Let's say that first and foremost, okay? Beautiful
You got
ladies.
4 eyes.
Yeah, beautiful ladies.
Need all of them.
This is true.
I want to start there first, all right? So I'm thankful for that opportunity. But, I guess for the city of Baton Rouge, this is something I think a lot of people probably had not thought would ever happen. I'm not from Baton Rouge. I'm not a Louisiana guy, so I really don't understand the history. And when you talk about LSU and Southern and the differences of the 2 schools, but I do know there's a history between the 2 schools that ran deep for a lot of people who may not have wanted to see this game happen. And for me, competitively, I may not have wanted to see it happen myself. I am a Southern grad, but I cover all sports. But just from a perspective as an alum, I thought for the city of Baton Rouge, to see people come together, to see a community come together, and to see a city have a good time, because that's what it was about, a good time. And the last time I think this happened with both schools coming together was when Southern won its national championship on this level, and LSU won its national championship, and everybody, they had a parade of champions.
Yeah.
They went to the Capitol, and everybody had a good time together. So then to put this together in a game day setting, I think it was electric. When I looked around, you could feel the energy in Tiger Stadium. And I don't think you had ever really seen that with LSU playing at FCS school.
Yeah.
Right? And for me, more than anything, just from my perspective of dealing with Southern, I think it shows Southern's economic power in terms of who they are with their brand. Every stadium for Southern that they have gone to within the state of Louisiana, whether it's McNeese, whether it's UL, whether it's Louisiana Tech, ULM, Tulane, just to name those, they have found a way to break stadium attendance records at those schools. And I don't think anybody would have thought 100,000 plus, and the interest for this game would have been up there, as they said, with an Alabama or any of the SEC schools. And even with the traffic after the game, LSU ended up coming out saying, hey, I think we may have messed up a little bit with this one because we didn't quite anticipate this amount of people being out in that area. So for me, that just showed it was a success. And I hope from there, both institutions can move forward working together, and maybe it can bring out something in the future between the 2.
What's exciting right now on Southern's campus outside of what Coach Dooley's got going on?
I haven't been. I'm kind of removed. I'm an alum, but I'm not really there. Although I support and I'm there. Right now, it's just football season. And I think for everybody, that kind of trumps everything at this point. What are you guys talking about right now? Football.
Yeah.
There's a lot of other things going on, but just football. Southern's in a bye week this week, so I'll be over at the LSU game. They're taking on New Mexico this week, so I'll be there. Nothing else to do but to enjoy a good tailgate and some football, right? And nothing else to do in South Louisiana on a Saturday. So, other than that, that's pretty much what's going on with a bye week.
Chopping It Up with Kador. YouTube is developed. Make sure you subscribe there. Starting up on Monday. We got all types of social media around it, so make sure you're following it up, Chopping It Up with Kador. As we're looking forward to it, man. New studio here at FM Digital Media. We'll have a couple of shows that will come out of that studio, including Mic'd Up. But the first show that will air there will be Chopping It Up with Kador, which is set to debut on Monday.
With PJ.
With PJ.
And I'm Perry White, just for y'all listening. Perry White, but you're going to probably hear, if you tune into the show, PJ a lot. Oh, PJ,
Good morning, PJ.
You're just a good
I gave you my email.
Yeah, he's a good boy.
And if anybody knows Roger Kadar, man, his personality is larger than life.
Yep.
He's a big guy, as well as with a personality where he walks into a room and he can pretty much he will talk to everybody in the room. And so to be able to sit down and be able to have those conversations with a guy that's so influential would be amazing.
A great recruiter.
No doubt. I mean, he call you the wrong name, and I still want to play for the team.
And one thing you know, when we're going to talk about it on the show, but I always ask him, Ricky Weeks,
Yeah.
you know, he was basically the Heisman Trophy winner of college baseball on Southern's campus. He won the award and
number one pick.
And I said, man, what? I talked to him and said, man, what was that like to recruit this guy? He said, I saw something any mothers did not see. You know, I saw something they didn't see. And, you know, just having those conversations to be able to talk to him. And we're going to probably have a lot of guests on, a lot of people from a national perspective of not just MLB, but just all over the place, you know. And I think with me being from a younger perspective, I'm probably going to push him in some areas that he's probably not going to be comfortable with quite yet, especially in front of a camera, because having to be politically correct for so long, especially on cable television. But I said, Coach, you know, I think you could do, if you want to slip up a cuss word every now and again or just be yourself, you can do that on this.
Start an OnlyFans? Oh, PJ.
You know, so I think it'll be slow when you start to see, as we get started to see him transition to understand what this is. And what I've been doing with him is sending him different podcasts. Hey, get an opportunity to see what this is like. It's not television. Yeah. So get that out your head altogether. This is nothing like TV. You can kind of relax and be more yourself.
Yeah, you boy.
That's what I'm saying. We've been trying to do it for a minute now.
All right, Perry White. We'll see you Monday, bro.
Yes, sir.
We appreciate it.
All right.
All right. Make sure you tune back in with us. We'll keep you posted on this stuff. But as Lloyd just said, SI Ross Dellinger reporting that this is going to be dealing with James Craig and the situation around former offensive line coach James Craig, who was ousted by the Orgeron regime last summer. Brad Davis took his role as the offensive line coach, so we'll wait and see what comes out from an NCAA perspective at around 11 o'clock this morning. If it has calls for reaction, we could go live. That's why you need to stay subscribed and hit that bell to let you know when we go live here at the Jordy Culotta Show. Make sure you hit the like button, the share button, the comment button. Subscribe to Chopping It Up with Kador. Make sure you're following Where My Dog's At with Rohan. That'll be at 6 o'clock tonight.
Any guests on there tonight?
We got dogs in the kennel?
No confirmation.
No confirmation.
We need to get Skip and Roger to do a joint show.
Yeah. That's a couple of legends.
Legends.
That is legends. Legends Lane right there. All right, hit that like button, share button, comment button. We'll see you tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. Everybody have a good Thursday.